Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got the first week of the Nightwave Volume 9 Nora's Mix weekly reset this week in Warframe. So we're currently live on stream. We're going to go over all this weekly reset stuff and run these missions with community members on stream. Also got some Omniformal bundle giveaways going, so come on, stop by the live stream channel. Alright, this week there's not a ton going on, but we do have some good loot either way. So first things first, you got Teshin, a Zal River mod for 75 Steel Essence. Not exactly the best use of your Steel Essence, but you could grab it if you wanted to. You also got Kuva and Relic packs. Yareli Prime Access did just come out like a couple days ago, so a lot of people are still farming that. Her prices have gone down quite a bit. We're talking like under 150 plat for a single set, but maybe you could still get something like that. Moving on to the Dorma Zone here, I'd like to remind you that starting next week is the beginning of the month of June. And in June, we have a new clan event called 8 Claws coming out. It will be a massive Pathos Clamp farming event. And what Pathos Clamps are used for are not only Incarnons, but also this vendor here in the Dorma Zone gives you a weekly loot drop pretty much. They can have some pretty decent stuff. So if you farm a ton of Pathos Clamps from that event sometime in June, you could maybe grab these things on a weekly basis. So we got a Companion River mod, for example, 20 Pathos Clamps, an Orokin Catalyst Blueprint, another 20 Pathos Clamps, and some other various stuff, too, like a Forma Blueprint and Exilus Warframe Adapter. So yes, if you farm the event a lot in June, whenever it comes out, you could be grabbing this stuff every week and have a ton of extra good loot for that matter.
You know.
But if you don't, I mean, you can still probably get the Spider Frame if you don't farm it too much. But yes, moving on, we have the Coda rotation and some Elite Weeklies. I'd also like to remind you, too, that Necros Prime and Oberon Prime are available in Resurgence for like the next 10 days. We'll have a video covering the next Resurgence afterwards. But as of right now, go get Necros if you haven't already. Get that loot. Okay, for your calendar, start things off with the first loot drop. You got a double Arcane drop or a 40 plat 3-day resource drop chance booster. Very good for farming Vitus Essence. Next, you got your Hex Override perks with Practice Precision, giving melee crit chance, Heavy Mags, giving increased magazine size, or Harden Up, giving overshields on kill. I mean, normal shields on kill, but overshields cap increase. So very good perk there. All three of them are actually pretty strong. Moving on, you've got a Forma Blueprint Singular or 1 Arcane. As you can see, the loot in the calendar has been severely nerfed compared to before. So pretty rough choice on that front. Next, you've got a Singular Amber Archon Shard or 2 Arcanes from the event from the update. Reminder, these are not going to be Arcane Hotshot or Universal Fallout. These are only the old Arcanes that first came out in 1999. So we're talking Arcane Crepuscular, like Arcane Impetus for that example. So not Arcane Hotshot is the big thing there. After that, you got 1 Arcane or a secondary Arcane Adapter. Basically 20 plat. Let's go for that one. After that, you got the perks as follows. Combo Wave. Upon getting 7x combo, all melee attacks fire energy waves. Pretty strong. Friendly Fallout. Attacks from Spectres and Companions have a 25% chance to cause rad procs. Not the best in my opinion. And Dynamo Jump. On landing from a bullet jump, gain 50% electric damage for 3 seconds. This is pretty strong if you do remember it actually exists. And for your final page here, you've got another 1,000 enemy kills. So you have to kill 1,000 enemies, you get nothing for doing that, and then you have to do another challenge of killing 250 Skuldra. So what do you get for killing like 1,250 enemies? You get another 3-day resource drop chance booster, which is pretty decent, or a Exilus weapon adapter fully built. And for your final tier perks, Broaden Horizons give you increased range if you pick up an energy orb. Got Your Back give you increased Spectre and Companion damage. And Emergency Medicine giving increased orb effectiveness. Not the most powerful perks this season. I think we're almost done with this season, actually. It should be the last week. So, yeah, maybe grab Got Your Back if you want more Spectre damage. But, yeah, guys, the calendar loot is very underwhelming ever since DE did remove the fully built Omniforma from there, unfortunately. But, hey, if you want some Omniforma fully built, let me come and stop at my stream. We've been doing some giveaways there. We're doing 3 of them tonight. So, the Coda rotation did just happen as well. And as far as the weapons, we had some 60% last rotation. And we got a 26.5 Baso, 25 cost assist. Looks like a lot of the stuff's pretty low. Actually, looks like everything is low. The highest roll is a 38.8 Tysis. So maybe hold off on using your live heart cells for a bit, because there was 260s this last rotation. Moving to your Temporal Archimedea, a great place to get Archon Tau shards. You got the boss fight tank returning. Reminder too, you can switch your gear on this screen now, which is pretty convenient. But yes, Legosite Harvest is the first mission. Stage Defense is the second mission. The final mission is the boss fight tank. Now, as far as your modifiers, you've got them as follows. Mitosis for the Legocyte capture. 2 Legocytes will spawn, and twice as many captures are needed for success. So I think it's like 6 Legocyte captures to complete this mission. Next, enemy guns launch large, slow-moving orbs instead of their usual ordnance with arcane automata, and post-mortal surge, enemies explode with void energy. So a pretty powerful damage detonation when you kill enemies. Be very careful about that as you're fighting the Legocyte's damage attenuation. Next, for defense, you got noise suppression. Drones fly above flare, spraying them with a fervon gas. Pretty dangerous, but not that bad. Miasmite Swarm. Tech-Rot Miasmite spawn the shadows throughout the mission. This modifier last week was not that terrible, as long as you have someone actually watching flare. And then the final modifier, Devil's Bargain. Allies will drain their ammo much faster when near a dead enemy. And for the final mission, the tank, let's see what we got going on this week. Let's see, do we have a Toxin tank? No. Reinforcements is the first one. Reinforcements will arrive during the fight. First, Scourge with a Tech-Rot, so expect a lot more enemies to be swarming you during the boss fight. Corrupted Flesh. Tech-Rot enemies are infused with a Fervon and take damage over time. They explode when killed and leave behind deadly a Fervon in their wake. This is actually more dangerous than you might think, so keep an eye out for things on the ground. There should be Toxin on the ground and like this blue Fervon stuff that could damage you even more. And with the final modifier, Beyond the Wall, Murmur enemies join the ranks of the Scaldra and the Tech-Rot. Just a heads up, this modifier does tend to bug out sometimes and make it not completable, so maybe keep an eye out for the mission not being completable or some glitch later tonight, but hopefully not, because that sounds pretty fun and cool. For your personal modifiers, you got secondary wounds. You get a puncture status effect whenever you take damage. Puncture status effects make you deal less damage to enemies. Lethargic Shield. Your shield regeneration delay is increased by 500%, so the good thing I got Hildren there should make that not too big of a deal. Energy Exhaustion, another great thing for Hildren. Lose 2 energy per second for each enemy within 10 meters of you. Overguard does prevent that energy removal, just a heads up on that one. And Knife Step Syndrome, lose 2 health while moving, jumping pause the effect. This is like basically great for Hildren this week. Shouldn't worry about puncture procs, don't worry about shield regeneration, don't care about energy, and HP is a little bit annoying, but yeah, it should be pretty safe for Hildren to go through this. Let's be your best spot for Archon Tau Shards for the week. Combined Tau Shards, for that matter, too. Moving on to the Elite Deep Archimedea. You've got some great loot there, but technically not as good as the Temporal Archimedea, and also technically not as easy, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, guys, there's really not a whole lot of new stuff going on in Warframe this week. We did just get the yareli Prime Access like 3 or 4 days ago, so if you do want to grab the daikyu, probably have a video on that on Tuesday, I think it is. There's also the Colorvo Deluxe, too, which we have a build video on Wednesday or Thursday, I want to say. But either way, good to stack up these shards for the new spider frame and more. Okay, so here we have the Elite Deep Archimedea, with the mission types being Survival, Disruption, and the boss fight here as well. So you got multiple boss fights for your Archimedeas this week. As far as the modifiers, you've got Survival with Parasitic Towers, which means the Life Support Towers will not work unless you kill 20 enemies within 15 meters of them. Post-Mortal Surges. Just like the previous planet, enemies explode when you kill them, and it does a lot of damage to you. And Entanglement. Allies within a 4 meters of a dead enemy have reduced movement and parkour velocity. So, enemy dies, then they explode. And they're slowed down when they die. So be very careful about that first mission. Next, Disruption. You define purpose. Enemies can target and destroy the conduits. This means it's like a mini mobile defense, kind of. Defend the conduit from the enemies, or they'll destroy it. And not just the Devilists this time. Next, Hostile Regeneration. Enemies slowly regenerate health. And Bold Venture. Enemies will attack faster, but also take more damage. So, and they also deal less damage technically, too. So they should be a little bit faster moving than usual. And for the final mission, let's see if it's a Stella farm this week. Looks like no. We've got Coordinated Front. Exodus units support the Fragmented Tide in its final form. Alluring Arcanids. Dog robots will pull you towards them as they charge. And Explosive Potential. Rupturing Fragments replace Shuffling Fragments. So lots of explosions in this final mission, but not a very good Stella farm. I think that's like Endless Tide is the Stella farm modifier. As far as personal modifiers, though, you got Fraction Armor, reducing your armor if you cast an ability. Abbreviated abilities mean you have like pretty much no duration. Hypersensitive, making where negative stat effects duration are tripled. And Energy Exhaustion, lose 2 energy per second for each enemy within 10 meters of you. So, not as bad as the other planet this week, but still, those exploding enemies in 2 missions might be a little bit deadly to some players. Moving on to the Bird 3 Guaranteed Shard. You got a blue shard at Bird 3. Which is making me feel a little bit blue, but either way, guaranteed shard for 30,000 reputation from Bird 3. Let's move on to the Incarnons and all that other stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to prepare for the new update in June, what you could do is prepare some of your Exalted frames. Since it will be a Deviri event, you having good exalted frames will mean that you don't have to worry about gun builds as much because you'll have a exalted frame, like Hildred or whatever. So, first things first, Archon Hunt, the blue Archon shards from the Owl Archon. Mission types being Exterminate, Excavation, and the final boss showdown. Pretty straightforward and easy this week. Next, for the circuit, let's start with the normal circuit with frames you can grab here. Circuit frames, we got Gara normal. Ooh, Korra normal. That's a big, big time saver right there. Korra normal from this normal circuit in Revenant. Now, as far as where these come from, Korra comes from normal Sanctuary Onslaught, so very annoying to farm usually. Gara comes from bounties on the plains, and Revenant also comes from bounties on the plains. So, I'd recommend that you grab Korra here. You'll be saving yourself a lot of time. But if not, the other frames are relatively annoying to farm too, I'd say. But yeah, Korra is one of the most annoying to farm in the entire game, so go ahead and grab her. And you can thank me later. For the Steel Path Incarnons, we've got weapons as follows. But reminder, if you haven't played in a while, if you don't need these Incarnons, you can grab Kuva or Rivens instead if you prefer that. But yes, we have the Bratton Incarnon, the Leto Incarnon, the Skana Incarnon, the Paris Incarnon, and the Kunai Incarnon. Now, as far as the best ones this week, I'd recommend the number 1, going to be the Paris Incarnon, and the number 2, probably being the Leto Incarnon. And the reason for that is just because they're really good, but we're going to explain what all these do so you can maybe make your own decision here. For the Bratton Incarnon, this thing is a full auto rifle that becomes an exploding bullets full auto rifle when it goes into Incarnon form. So that's some headshots, gain radial heat damage, basically AoE fire bullets. And some of the perks can be pretty decent on here, like critical parallel, giving crit chance and crit damage. Pretty good, but at the same time, this is just a worse version of the Burstin, to be totally frank with you. The Burstin Incarnon blows this thing out of the water, but this thing is still pretty strong if you want a slower firing version of the Burstin. It maybe hits harder per bullet, but has so much less fire rate that it doesn't really hold up. Still good stuff you can use in the Bratton Prime or the Bratton Vandal. Next, the Leto Incarnon. Why is this thing recommended over a lot of the other stuff? Well, it's actually very, very hard hitting, and if you don't have the dual Toxist Incarnon, this can be a somewhat decent replacement. So as far as the Incarnon ability of this thing, after some headshots, it will gain punch through and ricochet to nearby enemies, and it can hit really, really hard with the perk called Death Trap Trigger. On equip from primary, massive increase to crit chance and crit damage. So you get easy red crits with the Leto Incarnon. I'd recommend the Leto Vandal, but you can also do the normal Leto if you want to as well, and it will still hit really, really hard. So yeah, very hard-hitting pistol. It also has some really good, perks you wouldn't even think about, like this one, for example. Exact Penance. On kill, 50% chance for instant reload. That's actually a lot higher chance than you would think. So whenever you're going to kill, 50% chance that you fully reload your magazine. That can be very, very nice just walking through a normal mission. Hits hard too, so very, very nice, consistent workhorse pistol here. Main downside probably being the relatively bad magazine size. But yeah, besides that, very, very good. Maybe low status chance too. Skana Incarnon. Now, this thing is very high stats, but the special ability of the Incarnon might leave something to be desired. So, as far as what this does, once you reach a 6x combo multiplier, do a heavy attack, stun nearby enemies when entering the Incarnon form, and after doing a finisher attack, you'll also blind nearby enemies. So that's what it does. It basically is like a mini version of Excalibur's Radial Blind. It's got very high stats with Elemental Excess, Absolute Valor, Eating the Survivor's Edge, giving tons of status chance or crit chance. So yeah, very good generic sword. The Incarnon form doesn't even really exist to me. It's more just like a stat upgrade. So that being said, if you need a very high stat sword and you want to use like the Broken War from the story quest or whatever, I'd recommend the Prism Skana with this thing, and yeah, like a slash build or something. Very, very strong, but also very, very generic in my opinion. The Paris Incarnon. Now, why is this number 1? It's, for the most part, a relatively tame feeling Incarnon. It has high damage and all that. But yes, just like the Dread Incarnon and the Nanorook, it's a Railgun Arrows bow. But what does it do that's special? It has some of the highest base stats for status chance and crit chance in the whole game. So, explain what this does. After a headshot or two, sacrifice silence for increased projectile size and heat damage. So it becomes not silent anymore, but has AoE fire arrows. Those arrows are very good for like gas proc build or a blast proc build. But the big thing here is that it has a special mod called Visage Ball, which is going to make it where it increases the status chance even further than any weapon in the game. That is allowed to do basically the only weapon that can run this mod. So for Kubrow's, I think it is, you can link the status chance of your Paris Prime to the Kubrow's status chance with like Mecha Link or something like that. Either it's something that links status chance to your companion's your primary and your companion's claws. They can make it the best dog stat stick of the whole game. So I'd recommend that to you, because it's a good bow and it's the best dog stat stick. So if dogs ever become like even more meta than they currently are, you might want to have this with a status chance, crit chance Riven for the big stats. So beyond that, it's got really good perks though, like Elemental Balance giving 6% increased base status chance goes pretty well with that Riven or that dog stat stick, and other perks such as Deadly Pace giving increased fire rate, which is good on bows, or Guardian's Might giving increased damage, which is very good on bows as well. So very good stuff here, and also the other Incarnons are not the best this week either. So for the final Incarnon, you got the Kunai Incarnon. After some headshots, you will get basically homing headshot kunai that have very high damage and can one-shot lots of things very easily. And it also, just like the Leto Incarnon, it's got Death Trap Trigger on here, which gives you a ton of extra crit chance and crit damage when you swap. So right there, Death Trap Trigger, increased crit chance and crit damage if you swap. This will one-shot level 10,000s very easily. The only thing that is unfortunate for this is there's no Kunai Prime. There's Kunai Normal and Mark 1 Kunai. I recommend the Kunai Normal for your Incarnon for this thing. But yeah, very single target. It's like you pretty much can't even make it hit multi-target because it's so single target. But yeah, very strong if that's what you're looking for. I'd recommend this one as like probably like 3rd or 4th place. So as far as the hierarchy of what you should grab, Paris Incarnon number 1, dog stat stick amazingness, and very powerful bow with high status chance. Number 2, Leto, very reliable, powerful pistol, but maybe a little bit to be desired compared to the dual tox. As far as everything after that, maybe go Bratton, maybe, honestly, the last 3 up to you. Like, they're really underwhelming. Most people don't use these, but if you need a sword, go for the Skana. Need a rifle, go for the Bratton. Need a single target kunai, go for the kunai. So, hope that's helpful to you guys. Let's move on to our Nightwave. Yeah, so Nightwave is new, and we're not going to be getting the new augment mods for a couple weeks. Just a heads up on that. It's like level 13 for the Aphrodite augment, and like level 25 for the similar augment. We're not going to be there for a couple more weeks, so just a heads up on that one. But as far as your challenges, you got the challenges as follows. Earth Bounty Hunter, complete 3 different Earth bounties. Straightforward on that one. Heavy Ordnance, kill 500 enemies with the Arcwing Gun. Remember, Heavy Arcwing Gun, call down should work with this. Like, you know, Zephyr Tornado, shoot with the Moz launch, should be pretty straightforward. Next, your Elite Weekly. Defend both Mirror Defense objectives 3 times in a single mission. Ugh. I don't like Mirror Defense, but at least it's not going to take too long, I hope. And your other Elite Weekly, oh, here you got complete a run of Deep Archimedea or Temporal Archimedea. So, you don't have to do the Elite one, but yes, you need to be rank 5 with the Hex or the Caveat to do these missions. We were just talking about at the beginning of the video, and it's now an Elite Weekly for the Nightwave. So if you don't have this stuff unlocked, it's time to unlock it. Easy Nightwave rep for us to have it unlocked, but yeah, if you don't have it, get grinding. And for your permanent weeklies, you got Exodus Eliminator, Mission Complete, and Not a Warning Shot. Moving on to your credit offering store here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. So we got our evergreen stuff at the top, such as Orc Catalyst. We also got the Heat Dagger, Heat Sword, Pangolin Sword, Plasma Sword, Blueprint. So that's good stuff for Mastery. And let's see if we got any helmets that you might be interested in. The Anubis helmet for Anaris is always good. We got the Jade Orialt helmet. And also got a Zaku helmet too, so pretty good stuff there. Vauban over here as well. As far as your augment mods, you got plenty of good stuff here. Let's see if anything actually like must have. I guess Metamorph Magazine for the Gorgon can be okay because it's can petrify enemies, but you don't need it necessarily. These are all pretty much passable for the most part. Maybe Loot Detector for increased loot detection size, and that's basically it. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty much your Nightwave and all that stuff, guys. You have so much time. Don't worry about Nightwave. Like, there's going to be months and months before Nightwave goes away, so no rush on that front. But yeah, big stuff happening in June in Warframe if you don't know exactly when. So we're starting Isle Weaver Watch next week. So hope you guys found the video fun, helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Ooh, very nice Octavia Invigoration. Very nice Zephyr Invigoration, too. I will see you guys next time for your support. Take it easy. Peace.